World War Hulk is a 5-part series from 2007, written by Greg Pak and illustrated by John Romita Jr. There is quite a large backstory preceding the event itself. During issues 88 to 91 of The Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner is convinced by a life-model decoy of Nick Fury to take a mission in near-Earth orbit. A rogue satellite created by Hydra needs to be taken down. The only being with a chance to complete the mission is the Hulk. While the satellite in question did need to be destroyed, it was actually created by S.H.I.E.L.D. Ultimately, this was a scheme to launch the Hulk into deep space and rid the planet of his presence. This was a plan originated by the Illuminati, as seen in New Avengers Illuminati No. 1. When the Hulk is alerted to this plot, he naturally starts smashing, and this sets the spaceship off course. Eventually, it crashes on the planet Sakaar, leading to the year-long story, Planet Hulk. During this story, Hulk begins as a gladiator before taking control and ruling the world. He even falls in love and gets married. In a nutshell, the Hulk is Conan the Barbarian, but in deep space on an alien planet. Everything was good until the ship he arrived in explodes, destroying the capital city and killing his pregnant beloved. Hulk then swears revenge on the members of the Illuminati responsible for this fate. All of this is summarized in the prologue to the miniseries and in the first issue of the event itself, so one can pick up the first issue and get all the information necessary to understand the forthcoming story. After a brief stop on the moon to retrieve Black Bolt, the leader of the Inhumans and a member of the Illuminati, Hulk makes his way to New York, where he demands the members of the Illuminati face him or he will destroy the Earth. The remaining issues are one long fight scene, with the Hulk defeating Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, and Doctor Strange. The Hulk is only stopped when Tony Stark activates a series of satellites that drain and store the Hulk's energy. Powerless, the Hulk reverts to Bruce Banner, where he is detained and imprisoned by S.H.I.E.L.D. As an event, World War Hulk is rather tight, concise, and provides an actual conclusion, not only to the event itself, but to the entire Planet Hulk storyline. Although it has to be acknowledged, Bruce Banner's fate is left open at the end, but that's to be expected. Perhaps the only criticism one might have is that it may lack some resonance to those who've not read Planet Hulk. Basic context is provided, but World War Hulk is the end of a tragic journey that began somewhere else. One misses Hulk's rise to power on an alien world and the positive influence he has on that culture and its people. He creates a place for himself in the universe and finds acceptance, even if that acceptance involved a lot of smashing. Still, it was more than he ever maintained on Earth, where he was always an outsider, shunned and feared because, at any moment, he could turn into a primal, destructive force. The Hulk does not return to Earth for revenge, but for justice. He came to humble those that did him wrong, and ultimately to prove that even a brute like himself understands mercy and compassion. These two traits are what the Illuminati seem to have forgotten in their quest to solve all problems. Their alleged foresight has blind spots and weaknesses. Their overthinking cannot prevent the chaos the Hulk represents, and that chaos, once properly channeled, doesn't challenge the world, it helps make it a better place. World War Hulk is less of an event and more of a happening in the Marvel Universe. After all, it had the unfortunate distinction of being the event that followed the massively successful Civil War. Not to mention, Civil War experienced delays, and it concluded at the end of February 2007. World War Hulk began 4 months later in June, so there was barely any space between one event and another. The hype and fallout of Civil War was still echoing throughout the Marvel Universe, and it may have overshadowed World War Hulk. As an event, it did well in terms of sales, but it wasn't as impressive compared to the prior event. Also, its effect was minimal, and it seems somewhat overlooked in the emerging continuity of the Marvel Universe. So the timing of the series and its limited scope gave it the appearance of a somewhat simple storyline that happened between two continuity-changing events. Put another way, it reads like a Hulk story that would have been more appropriate in the regular title. When expanded into an event, its impact is diminished. What makes this event interesting is it's the opposite of most Marvel events. In fact, on the checklist of event elements, it only fulfills 2 of the 5 criteria. Technically, there is the death of a minor character, and that death is the inciting incident that leads to this event. However, it happens prior to the event, not during the event itself, so it doesn't really fulfill that part of the event criteria. World War Hulk does highlight an overlooked factor that pertains to most events. That factor being, the event is a storyline lifted from an ongoing title. House of M and the forthcoming Secret Invasion being two more examples. Those two stories should have been part of the Avengers, just like World War Hulk should have been the concluding chapter to the Planet Hulk storyline. But due to their scope, these stories were expanded into a standalone event. As mentioned a moment ago, this event didn't affect the status of the Marvel Universe itself. There were no ramifications that permeated other titles, although it did mark a significant change for the Hulk character. Following World War Hulk, Bruce Banner was retired for a very brief period and replaced with the Red Hulk. This and many other factors would lead to the fall of the Hulks crossover in 2010. Furthermore, all of these Hulks and the death of Bruce Banner in the event Civil War II would be utilized in the series The Immortal Hulk. In the end, World War Hulk is coherent and satisfying as a straightforward action comic. There is a sense of resolution, and it feels complete and conclusive.